June 11th, a website launches that would fundamentally change how millions of people spend their time online. Not through innovation, not through technology, but something far simpler and far more profitable. Within 3 years, Amazon would pay nearly $1 billion to own it. Today, it controls 76% of the video game streaming market across the Americas and Europe, pulling in 31 million daily visitors who collectively watch billions of hours of content every month. This is the story of how Twitch created an entirely new economy where watching someone else play video games became more lucrative than actually playing them yourself. 2007, 4 Yale graduates, Justin Kan, Emmett Shear, Michael Siebel, and Kyle Vogt, were running a startup called Justin TV with a concept so ridiculous it bordered on performance art. Justin Kan literally stripped a webcam to his head and live-streamed his entire life 24/7. Every conversation, every meal, every mundane moment broadcasted to anyone curious enough to watch. The novelty wore off fast, but something unexpected emerged from the wreckage of Justin's failed experiment. The platform they'd built to support his livecast could theoretically let anyone livestream anything. So they opened it up to the public, creating a chaotic free-for-all where people broadcast everything from cooking shows to their pets sleeping. And buried in the chaos was a category no one paid much attention to: gaming. By 2010, the gaming section, originally just one small corner of Justin TV, was exploding. Viewers were spending hours, sometimes entire days, glued to streams of people playing video games. League of Legends matches, StarCraft tournaments, someone speedrunning Super Mario 64 for the 1,000th time. The numbers didn't make sense. Who watches someone else play a video game for 8 hours? Turns out, millions of people. In June 2011, Kan and Shear spun off the gaming content into a separate platform called Twitch TV, inspired by the twitchy, rapid-fire nature of competitive gaming. It wasn't a rebrand, it was a complete pivot away from everything Justin TV represented. And almost immediately, they realized they'd stumbled onto something massive. What made Twitch different from every other streaming platform was that they understood people weren't watching games, they were watching people. Traditional sports had already proven this model worked. You don't watch football because throwing a ball is inherently entertaining. You watch because of the personalities, the narratives, the parasocial relationships you build with players you'll never meet. Twitch applied that same psychology to gaming, but with one crucial advantage: the barrier to entry was essentially zero. Anyone with a computer and an internet connection could become a broadcaster. No training, no equipment, no television network needed. Just press go live and start building an audience. The founders, particularly Emmett Shear, who became CEO in August 2011, obsessed over one question: how do we make streamers enough money that they'll never want to leave? They built revenue opportunities into every corner of the platform: subscriptions that gave viewers special badges and emotes, donations that popped up on screen with custom messages, ad revenue splits, sponsorship integrations, affiliate programs. By the time Twitch launched its partner program, top streamers were earning 6 figures annually from their bedrooms. Some were pulling in more than doctors and lawyers just by entertaining while gaming. The model was brilliant, actually. If Twitch made streamers rich, streamers would bring their audiences to Twitch. The platform didn't need to create content, it just needed to create millionaires. 2014, 3 years after launch, Twitch had 55 million unique monthly visitors watching over 15 billion minutes of content. Amazon announced it would acquire Twitch for $970 million in cash, the largest acquisition in Amazon history at that point. Why would Amazon pay nearly $1 billion for a website where people watch other people play video games? Because Bezos understood something that traditional media completely missed. Twitch wasn't a gaming platform, it was an engagement platform that took use of gaming as its hook. The average viewer was spending 106 minutes per day on the site, roughly equivalent to watching 2 TV episodes daily, except Twitch viewers were vastly more engaged, more loyal, and crucially, younger than traditional television audiences. Amazon wasn't buying a streaming service, they were buying the attention economy of an entire generation. Post-acquisition, Twitch's growth went exponential. Amazon's resources meant better infrastructure, improved streaming quality, and most importantly, integration with Amazon Prime. Suddenly, every Prime subscriber got a free Twitch channel subscription every month. The synergies were absolutely absurd. Amazon was essentially paying for people to use Twitch, which drove more Prime subscriptions, which drove more Twitch engagement, which drove more Prime subscriptions. It was a flywheel that competitors couldn't replicate. 2017, a 26-year-old streamer named Tyler Blevins, known online as Ninja, was grinding through Halo and H1Z1 streams to moderate success. Then, Epic Games released Fortnite Battle Royale and everything changed. The game was free, accessible, and designed for spectator entertainment with its cartoonish violence and building mechanics. But what turned it into a cultural phenomenon wasn't the game itself, it was Ninja's streams on Twitch. At his peak in March 2018, Ninja was earning over $500,000 per month from Twitch through subscriptions, donations, and ad revenue. $500,000 monthly for playing a video game! In March 2018, Ninja played Fortnite with Drake, Travis Scott, and NFL player Juju Smith-Schuster. The stream peaked at over 630,000 concurrent viewers, numbers that rivaled traditional sports broadcasts. Mainstream media couldn't ignore it anymore. Ninja appeared on The Tonight Show, ESPN, and became the face of a movement proving that gaming content creators were legitimate celebrities. Ironically, in 2019, Microsoft paid Ninja between $20 to $30 million to leave Twitch and stream exclusively on their competing platform Mixer. It was a devastating blow that ultimately proved Twitch's dominance. When Mixer shut down less than a year later, Ninja came crawling back to Twitch. The platform he'd helped build into a juggernaut had grown so powerful that not even Microsoft's billions could create a viable alternative. But Twitch's success created a problem nobody anticipated. What happens when your platform becomes so dominant that it transcends its original purpose? By 2018, Twitch wasn't just gaming anymore. Musicians were live streaming concerts, artists were broadcasting their creative process, people were hosting talk shows, cooking streams, fitness classes. The just chatting category, where streamers literally just talked to their cameras, became one of the most watched sections on the entire platform. This expansion solved a critical vulnerability. Sports have off seasons, but conversation never stops. By encouraging non-gaming content, Twitch ensured viewers had reasons to stay logged in even when they weren't interested in watching someone grind through another League of Legends match. The platform hosted online and offline events simultaneously. They created what competitors couldn't replicate. You know, a sense of community that existed both digitally and physically. TwitchCon became an annual pilgrimage for streamers and fans, turning online personalities into real-world celebrities who could fill convention centers. That engagement metric was lethal to competitors. YouTube gaming launched with more resources, better technology, and Google's advertising infrastructure. Facebook gaming had 2 billion potential users built in. Microsoft's Mixer had infinite funding and exclusive deals with the biggest names in streaming. They all failed, because Twitch had solved the network effects problem that makes or breaks platforms. Streamers went where viewers were, and viewers went where the streamers were. Every attempt to lure top talent away only proved that the streamer wasn't the product, the community was. As of 2025, Twitch accounts for over 70% of all live-streamed hours watched globally. YouTube gaming sits at 21%, and Facebook gaming struggles with 5%. But even those numbers understate Twitch's control because they measure quantity, not quality. Twitch's average viewer is more engaged, watches longer, and spends more money than viewers on any competing platform. The average concurrent viewership regularly exceeds 2.5 million people, the equivalent of a cable news network's primetime audience, except it's happening 24/7, 365. The live video streaming market was valued at $30 billion in 2016. By 2027, projections suggest it'll reach $185 billion. Twitch sits at the center of that explosion, having normalized a behavior that seemed absurd just 15 years ago. Paying money to watch strangers play video games. Twitch has maintained its dominance despite increasingly aggressive competition, multiple controversies, and platform changes that regularly infuriate their own creators. Twitch has survived advertising boycotts, copyright strikes, harassment scandals, and questionable moderation decisions that would have killed lesser platforms because they've made themselves essential to an entire generation's entertainment consumption. For millions of viewers, Twitch isn't a website they visit. It's background noise during work, dinner conversation with strangers, and the primary way they engage with gaming culture. The platform isn't competing with YouTube or Facebook gaming, it's competing with Netflix, cable television, and traditional social media for a share of attention. And it's winning. The genius of Twitch's rise was that they identified the people that were already watching gaming content on YouTube but craved real-time interaction. They built good financial incentives, they expanded beyond gaming before being pigeonholed as a niche service, and they integrated so thoroughly with Amazon's ecosystem that leaving Twitch meant abandoning access to the world's largest online retailer's perks. Most importantly, Twitch understood that they weren't selling content, they were selling community. When you attack the platform, you're not attacking a corporation, you're attacking thousands of communities that happen to be hosted there. That's why YouTube Gaming couldn't win despite superior technology. That's why Facebook Gaming failed despite billions in investment. That's why Microsoft's Mixer collapsed despite paying Ninja and Shroud a combined $50 million for exclusivity. You can't buy community, you can't engineer parasocial relationships, you can't force network effects. 31 million daily visitors don't lie, 76% market share doesn't happen accidentally. This wasn't luck, it was inevitability wrapped in the appearance of chaos. Twitch created the template for what streaming platforms should be, then defended that position so thoroughly that streaming and Twitch became effectively synonymous in most viewers' minds. You can compete with technology, but you can't compete with money. You can't compete with becoming the defining platform of an entire generation's entertainment habits. That's how Twitch won. Not through innovation, through understanding that the attention economy, whoever controls where people look controls everything else, and for the foreseeable future, everything's still looking at Twitch. What do you think? Drop your opinion in the comments below, and now in the meantime, you can check this other cool video about steak that appears on your screen. Click on it to see it! Click it!